I think a great way to wrap up this conversation about this financial transformation in financial transformation in a Christian context is, I think we've spent enough time talking about what positive cash flow is, that it's, these layers of you're in the black to you're actually not just making money, but keeping money. And then you're deploying money at level three. You're sending money out on mission to get stuff done. But, we've from the beginning branded ourselves around this idea of heart change, heart transformation. And you said something before we started recording this podcast, but you mentioned some other kind of faith-based uh coaching, financial coaching out there. And we're saying, why doesn't it work for most people? And you said it's because it's behavior modification. It's all about, well, you're doing this thing and this thing is dumb, so stop it. And could you just kind of bring us home by talking about what does it really mean to have your heart transformed in this? Because, we can do the numbers, but I can figure out my income, I can find out my expenses, I can find out my net worth, I can work really hard to go up from level one to level two, and then even set some goals for level three. Oh, I'll start a business or I'll do this or that. But none of that really has anything to do with my heart. So talk us through that of the heart transformation.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really good segue. And and I'll give you a very, very quick case study. I had a client that came to me and, first, like, they wanted to file bankruptcy. We looked at the numbers, we're like, there's no way you're going to file bankruptcy. I mean, there's a succession of things that that you can do. You don't need to file bankruptcy. And so later on, as they implemented the information that we put them through, I mean, I'm getting phone calls and texts and oh my goodness, thank you so much. I did exactly what you did, what you told me to do, the advice that you gave me. And my credit is going up, my credit score is going up. All of this is happening. I feel so good. And that was really the transformation that a lot of people are looking for. So from the conversation we had before to the conversation we're having later, what saddens me the most? A few years later, they were in a worse situation than they were than before we started. And it was because I at that point wasn't dealing at this, coming at it from the heart. And trusted covenant literally means that a covenant is a more than a contract. It's we're going to go through this with you until you see that transformation. It is not transaction based. It is not, you're not just a number, but you have to do your part. You have to do your part of, there's so many things that we can do. We don't put you in a box and tell you to, to sell everything and to cut up all your credit cards. And probably one of the worst advices that you can get is just, if to just stop it, just like that. Those are the things that allow people the mechanism to get to where they want to go. But if the heart doesn't change and the person's willingness, so let's talk about ability and willingness. The ability you have once you make a decision to change, because you've looked at your financial situation, you say, you know what, I just need somebody to help me get there, but I know that I can do it. And then the willingness is, are you holding on to the belief that God is your provider, that you can see this through, because you know that you've given him that. And then I'll wrap it up with this. One of the concepts that we have is to be able to give a person to creating a deed that they surrender over to God. Think about this, like, my name, I surrender, that the Chevy or the Jaguar, the little house or the big mansion, the $10,000 401k or the $100 million, asset. I surrender all of that to God. And why do I do that? Because it's all his anyway. We are to live a fruitful life and make an impact for the time that we have here on earth. But this is not our destination. I mean, I just hope that people, they need to understand that whether you live for, 40, 50, 60, or 100 years, it's temporary. And a lot of people make perpetual decisions and solutions for something that's very temporary. I think the easiest way to do it is just like hold it with an open hand, knowing that your heart is, you have given your heart to God to help you manage it. And so I think that this is what would help people do this: to be able to breathe, to be able to think clearly, to be able to let it all go and surrender it to God, so that they can begin that life transformation of knowing that all of that they have, everything that they own, isn't theirs. It belongs to God, and we're going to use it for His glory.
Thank you.